Hey there. Okay, here we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ukulele on the Ground podcast. My name is Aldrin Guerrero. Oh, sorry. Let me start that over. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the two-time award-winning Ukulele on the Ground podcast. There you go. That feels way better.
Yes,
way better,
absolutely.
Feels way better.
Feels right.
My name is Aldrin Guerrero. Joining me are Mr. Aaron, the voice, Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai, the legend, Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
We have special guest, Mr. Magic, my Fingies, Mike Odo.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Yeah.
Do you think you still hurt from playing bass?
And only when I'm playing upright, so no.
I was watching what is Kellen and
Līhau.
Līhau. No, I'm trying to think of their name.
Kūpaoa?
Kūpaoa. So I was watching Kūpaoa, and she has like the electric upright bass and stuff. I'm like, Mike would be like, "Ow, each note, ow," but I'm like, "No, look at her. She's working at it."
Okay, so if we're gonna get into this, between the two of us, the last person who complained about their fingers hurting was me. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kahai. A keyboard is that. I mean, maybe get a more comfortable keyboard next time, and don't hit it so hard in anger.
Someone who a dainty debutante breaks her nails, has to, it's like, oh, my nail broke.
Yeah, that's why Aaron uses Alaska picks now. That's why he uses Alaskan picks now. He doesn't want to break his fingies. Not me. I'm all mad, baby. The kind who plays basketball on the weekends. Every day on my free time,
goes
just
hunting.
working in my car. Goes hunting. Yeah, definitely some mad stuff.
And if you believe that, folks, we have a bridge we'd like to sell you.
Welcome. In this podcast, we answer any and all of your ukulele or not ukulele related questions as best we can. I give you my 2 cents. These three guys will give their 2 cents and we'll give you the best today 8-cent answer just for you. So Kahai, what do you want to talk about?
I want to play a game with you guys.
Oh, okay. All right. With me?
Yes, and Mike.
Is it because Squid Game just came out like a week ago? Is this like some kind of weird death thing?
Yeah. You guys got, what is it? Punch out shapes out of...
Dalgona? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm down. I'm down.
Yep.
Ready to die, Mike?
My tongue is ready to lick.
No.
I've watched Squid Game. I love that show.
I'm
looking forward to...
Season 2 came out.
Did it come out?
Yeah,
Okay.
it came out. Anyway,
I gotta find someone with Netflix to watch it.
The game I want to play with you guys is gut reaction. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you guys 2 choices. And based on your gut reaction, you guys have to pick one of the choices.
Okay.
And some of them is going to be easy. And then some of them, we'll see if maybe we need some. Well, after each one,
Okay.
I thought we could all discuss why you picked those choices.
Okay.
And also, I'm going to try and be doing a poll in the chat, and we'll see what the audience choices are, too.
Is this the one where whatever we pick, then we have to do that against something again? I see those a lot. That's why.
No.
Okay. No. I'm just
complicated,
checking.
I'm
I'm just checking.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. So we'll clear the board.
All right.
Okay. You guys ready for your first one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Low G.
So why? So you picked high G, Mike picked low G.
Yes.
Why?
I just like the sound of it better. I mean, I think that'd be the answer for every. He likes the sound of that better.
Yeah.
No.
Man, it's linear.
It's better than Mike's. That's No,
Well,
it fits my style. Traditional, and a lot of different, a lot of different reasons. Not just because it sounds better. Like playing wise, only one bass string to worry about. A lot of notes up the neck that you can kind of get away with the high G being open. So lots of different reasons.
Okay. Okay, let me just set this one up.
I think it'd be funny if we're like opposite every single one.
Maybe that's how it's set up right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then here is the second one. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Tenor.
Soprano.
Oh, did you guys want to know what was the audience choice for the last
Sure.
one?
What was that?
High G.
High G.
But only by like 56%. Yeah.
So all right, so I won the first one. Is that what you're saying? Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Why
Why
your choices?
soprano? I feel like it's the purest sound of the ukulele. If I'm not on stage, I would rather be playing soprano. If I'm not doing this for the camera, for the stage, or anything like that, like I would just be playing soprano all day, all night, like at home. Like I think I think sopranos is just the best ukulele experience you can get.
Yeah.
Would it be super soprano or what do you
Nah,
think?
just like a nice low
Just
G,
like
like a Martin low G soprano.
Yeah,
Like it would
not
be,
not having to show off for anybody.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to like do like tremolos or like fast strumming and stuff. Like if I'm just playing ukulele at home, which I would love to do. Like I would play soprano.
And then
yeah.
Mike.
It's just because it's the most comfortable one. So when I'm sitting around trying to learn a song or playing or trying to learn something new, it just feels the most comfortable in my hands. A close second is like my long neck soprano, but like I do have like a vintage Martin soprano like you, and there are times when it just I feel very T-Rex
I see,
playing it, and maybe that's just because I'm not that good of an ukulele player.
And you play bass most of the
Yeah,
time.
I know.
so-
I've
that
gone
makes
from
sense,
this
that
to
makes
this.
sense.
Yeah.
So the tenor kind of just feels nice.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do like soprano and tenor. And I figured like if I threw in concert too, would you guys still make that same choice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be harder. I would still go soprano, but I think either soprano or concert, like because that's what I played most. Most of my like beginner years is a concert.
Although that
ukulele.
concert you had yesterday was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's right. That was the one.
If it was that concert, maybe we'd have a different conversation.
Yeah, that's the concert that I played basically. That all my beginner years. Kamaka concert ukulele.
Yeah. And then the tenor was the audience choice for the last one.
Oh, so you're saying I won?
I know you're not like tallying like points or anything, but we are.
Okay, ready for this one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Baritone.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. We agree on some stuff.
Okay, yeah. And then, is there any reason why not Guitalele?
Because I can't play Guitalele.
I mean, people are gonna hate it, and it's a controversial opinion, but it's like, dude, just play guitar.
Yeah.
Just play guitar.
Yeah.
Oh.
Play guitar. Put it on
Wait.
the fifth. Like, put that cape on the fifth ring. It's like same thing. And that's coming from somebody who owns a guitar.
Yeah,
And it's do I pick it up as often as I should? Knowing how much it's worth and stuff. Like not nearly enough. Okay.
Yeah. So you would reach for a baritone.
I'd reach for a baritone
way,
first. Yes. Yeah.
way more often than.
I was gonna say, what are you talking about though? Just reach for a guitar. When you said like just reach for a guitar, are you talking about the baritone or the guitarele? Guitarele. But if I had a choice between reaching for the baritone or the guitar, like I'd reach for the baritone. Okay.
Like I think 7 out of 10 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, who won that one?
That one was baritone too.
Nice.
Yep.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Well, just your gut
Oh,
reaction.
okay, got it.
And then maybe we'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Construction.
Nice. Yeah. And I figured it's like what is more important for your instrument? Is it the materials or the construction?
The reason why is like I've played ukuleles with like the nicest koa that just sounded like a tissue box. You would have rather I'd rather just have taken a Kleenex. Put like put a paper towel tube and rubber bands. It basically sounds just like that. Not naming which one it is, which ukulele it is, but
like an expensive wall
like an
hanger.
expensive koa,
Decorative wall
like
hanger.
full on, with the curls and the inlays and all that.
And
stuff.
probably selling for thousands of dollars.
Yes, definitely. And but I've also played like mahogany like ukuleles that are just like, wait, what is this? Is it? It's veneer mahogany? Like you could fool me, you know?
Plain, no frills.
Really good, really good.
You ready?
How about you, Mike? Why construction?
Because it's for the same reasons. I've definitely, in my time, I've definitely seen instruments come through that are incredibly nicely made of really nice stuff.
Yeah.
And if the person doesn't know what they're doing,
Yeah.
you know, and then
Might be the same ukulele we're talking about.
I'm not going to say that, but I mean, I in all ranges, I've seen that really nice looking instruments that have really nice materials. But you do see this. I mean, if you find any maker, like the small makers, I we're never gonna find like an original Kūpaoa lying around. But like anybody who's making ukuleles, like, if you find like an ukulele they probably made it in like their first year. I mean, they could very well have some very nice looking, good materials they went and bought, and the ukuleles do not sound that great.
Yeah, they didn't dial in their construction.
Yeah, they hadn't figured it out.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I can think of a couple people just around here on Kauai. Their first ukuleles were okay, but the materials they used to make it were really nice. But now, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later,
as they're
you pick up
refined.
what their instruments are now, and not only do they have the beautiful wood, but now the ukuleles actually sound nice and they're played well.
Yeah.
They're not there's not sharp frets lying around. Things like that.
Yeah.
I like that you were like, they sound okay. That's a very, what is it?
I was like,
PC.
tissue.
I'm trying to be
box.
diplomatic here.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
paper towel
Yeah.
too. See, you sell them. You sell ukuleles. I mean, I do also, but I sell 2 brands of ukuleles. And it's the same brand, and they've been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Temperature.
Humidity.
Yeah. So is there a reason why you guys go your gut first? What do you think of?
What are you thinking of in your head?
I mean, overall health of the instrument.
Yeah, well, for me, I was thinking of what is worse, bad temperature or bad humidity?
As far as a player.
Yeah, well, to your instrument, not as a player, but to your instrument. I'm thinking just
okay.
instrument. Is temperature worse or humidity worse for your instrument?
Depends on how much of either.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's cases for both, but I think temperature, because I've played, our first tour when we played over in NorCal, and my ukulele has just never been out of the state. And I remember I'm like, is there some weird mouse biting my fingers? Because I feel but it was the cold temperature that shrank the wood.
I don't know. I think that's humidity.
Oh, his poor
I don't know.
fingies.
I don't know.
His poor fingies.
Poor bleeding fingies, by the way. So that's when you complain, is when you bleed on your instrument. Did you bleed on yours? I thought it was
I actually have, yes.
Oh, yeah? Well, show me the money, baby. But yeah, I guess so. I mean, they're both. There's cases for both, but there's one where I'm guilty of do you remember that Martin guitar that I kept when you still worked at the other music store that you worked at? I kept bringing in this Martin acoustic guitar, and then the pick guard was
Coming off.
3 inches lower
Slid,
and stuff.
because of the
I
glue.
left it
I
in
do.
the car in the high temperature. You know what I mean? And I've had ukuleles in low and high humidity before, but it was just that just 1-2 times in high temperature, it was enough to do that. So.
What do you see more of, Mike, then? When people bring in instruments that need fixing, what do you diagnose as a cause more often?
Humidity more than that. So because I would say this, extreme temperature will damage your instrument in a much faster manner.
Yeah.
But keeping your instrument at a wrong humidity will have longer term effects.
Oh, it's a silent killer.
Yes, basically.
Blood pressure.
Basically, yeah. What's it? Yeah. Too high temperature is I don't know, ramming your head into a wall, and then if you keep your instrument the wrong humidity, that's like having high blood pressure and not doing anything about it.
Yeah. Or it's more like, are you more scared of the high blood pressure catching up to you, or getting hit by a bus? Like that's
because neither one is good. Neither one is good. Just but yeah, I mean most repairs that I diagnose at the store are over humidified instruments in general. I do think we are in a unique position compared to some other places because we live in a place that is notorious for high humidity.
Yeah.
So if this was, like the Des Moines, Iowa ukulele podcast, maybe that wouldn't be much of an issue, and then temperature would be a more
Yeah.
Well, it's like
low humidity is bad too.
Yeah.
Yeah, too low humidity, but you know what I'm saying? Like It really is kind of like if someone comes in with an issue that's caused by too high or too low temperature, that's like someone who comes into the ER with like a broken leg because they just fell off crashed on their motorbike.
Yeah.
Whereas someone who comes in with humidity issues, that's someone who has like, some health condition that they just let go for like really long time and didn't take care of it. Because much like humidity, high blood pressure is the sort of thing. Well, I mean, I can speak for myself too.
Me too.
Yeah. And you can definitely say like the high blood pressure thing is something that if you take care of it in incremental steps, you can do something about it without doing something like drastic. Yeah. If you crash into the wall, you have to do something drastic. Same as like your guitar. Like if you leave a guitar in the car long enough for the pickguard to kind of start melting off.
It takes like not more than like an hour or two, like in the car. And here in Hawaii, it gets ridiculous. So it's kind of like,
but it's also the fix. That's what I mean. The fix has to be dramatic.
Yeah. So I mean, if you were like say in a position where like say you had to go to a doctor's appointment, but then you had a gig like right after. In your doctor's appointment, you're sitting, you're sitting in the waiting room for like an hour, 2 hours. It's like super hot out. Are you gonna take your bass and bring it to the doctor's office?
I might.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those that like I just have to leave it here. Like I have to leave my guitar in the car.
Crack the windows at least, right?
And then my expensive like guitar or bass like just gets stolen. You know what I mean? Like it's a lose-lose situation.
There is also like a thing with that. If you in Hawaii, if you leave a guitar in your car and it cracks to like 80, 90 degrees outside, it does also mean the humidity in your car is going to skyrocket too.
But because of the temperature.
Right, but I'm just saying they're related.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like there's arguments for both.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't let either happen. If you have a nice
don't
let either happen.
Both things are bad.
And like a lot of these things, like it's not necessarily one or the other even, right? Like, that's why it's your guys' gut reaction. It's like, and with the temperature and humidity, it's like, don't
let either. But
or the real killer will be like when it's both things are happening at the same time.
Yeah, that's why temperature is my enemy. It's like I have to go through like to 3-4 different places, and they're not all like. And I'm not about to carry my 500-pound instruments around because that case is like 500 pounds.
Yep.
Okay, next.
Okay, got it. Or ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Groove.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, you have like 2 notes. But if the groove and the rhythm is right, those 2 notes is going to sound amazing.
You can pick 2 notes that aren't even in the key you're playing in
I guess so.
and make it work.
For example, like Uptown Funk, awesome. And it's just...
Yeah. One of those notes is the same note.
And this, like Bruno Mars made like such an amazing and catchy song with like, with groove. 3 notes.
Just
with
pure groove.
Pure groove.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then also I was gonna say that so the last couple ones, Humidity was the audience describer. Construction was the one before that, and then for this one it was groove and rhythm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most people.
You can have the most amazing note choices, but if you're not doing it at the right time in the right place, it'll all sound bad.
Yeah, and most laymen don't really care about note choices anyway.
Yeah,
They care about
exactly.
groove. I think everyone cares about groove, but only a select few actually care about note choices.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's because if you're considering note choices, that I'm not gonna sound, I don't want to sound like super like bougie here, but unless you're like kind of trained, you're not gonna
I'm
understand.
getting my bib ready for the stinky cheese.
unless you're like kind of trained, you don't understand even the note choices.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like if you watch, since we talked about jazz last time, if you put on a video of any like hardcore jazz thing,
Yeah.
to the average music listener, they're gonna be like, I don't know what they're doing. It just sounds like random notes.
Yeah. Sounds
But-
good, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of them.
It's
There's a lot of
pretty good.
notes.
Maybe.
But groove and rhythm are more of a gut reaction thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like an instinctual kind of just inbuilt thing to us that like if the groove is bad,
Yeah.
we might not even be able to tell you why.
Yeah.
Like your average listener might just, I don't know, something's wrong.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is. They can't tell you what it is, but they just know something's wrong.
That's kind of like one of the I don't know. It's like when you hear a group play together, it's like, ooh, they're not in sync, and it's usually because of the groove. Or
Yeah,
rhythm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's like a telltale sign.
Yeah,
if it's the second one, it's sorry, go for it.
No, I was gonna say I'd rather listen to like a group that like a reggae group, for example, that plays like 2-3 chords, but like is always in the groove, than like a group that plays like 50 chords, but like not rhythm is all terrible.
I mean, there's a reason why things like reggae, country music is another
Yeah.
one, are incredibly popular.
I like Taylor Swift, everyone. Please don't come after me.
No, I'm saying that's why people do like it, because it touches people on a level that's more visceral, more instinctive to them. That's why I think some people, when you get into like more complicated forms of music, that's why you kind of have to like filter it a little bit. So you have to get a little trained to understand what they're doing, and then you appreciate it a little bit more. But what I was going to say was the first option is usually that the groove and the rhythm. If it's no choice, it's usually because the players are young, and so they're trying to do something that they can't necessarily do. So they're having all these cool note choices, but they're not being able to land them in the right place.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Which makes them the wrong note choices.
I have a bunch of old man yells at cloud moments nowadays. Like there's a lot of like impressive like guitar ukulele playing that's like on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and I'm impressed, but it's almost like I can't watch it for more than like the 5-10 seconds. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Okay, next.
Yeah.
But like if it's like a good groove, like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds good. But
I
if
would
it's
actually
like,
stick around for
I'll
that
actually stick
concert,
around.
but-
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if it's like, oh man, like there was somebody sent me a clip like a long time ago of that like that guitar guy that does the Careless Whisper, and he's like doing the like different like tuning the guitar.
It's
So, like,
impressive
I'm like,
the first time you see
that's
it.
cool. Okay, well, what else is is on? I'm like, that's not that he's not in groove or whatever, but I just feel like it was like too much, like too much that was happening, and I feel like my brain was overstimulated. That I'm like, okay, I had enough of
I need
that.
to listen to a 2-chord song.
Yeah,
now.
Well, I think
maybe
weird-
that's just like I said. Maybe that's just me like yelling at the clouds.
Weirdly enough, though, I think with that guy, and I know the video you're talking about too.
Yeah.
I feel like if we just got you the MP3 of it,
Yeah,
it wouldn't do that.
that's
to you.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
Because
be
when you're
so
watching him do it, and he's like
stimulating.
this and that, and it's like that
It
itself
stresses
is-
me out, man. It stresses me out.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make it? Are you gonna make it?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And I
stresses
think that
me
might
out.
have something to do with it, because when I watch it, I get the same thing too, where it's like it sounds cool,
Yeah.
but watching him just have to run all over the guitar to try and get that stuff done is like.
Yeah. It seems a little much. It's like, dude, you could just bend the note, like, or slide it, or there's other ways to note manipulate. But like that's cool. I mean, I'm not knocking. I was very impressed. I said I was impressed, and it is good. It's just stressful, and I feel like it's overstimulating. It's things like that, and it's not just guitars. There's like some ukuleles, some like some bass videos that I see, and it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think
all right, next though, you know,
definitely the age that we're living in, right? Is all musicians. There's like some kind of like where they're doing all of these tricks and stuff online and stuff. And I think Aaron put it like in a good way. It's like, would you go to a concert of just this type of playing? And it's like for a lot of these guys, it's like, not just this. I would want to see them, but I would want to see them play other stuff too. Not just a whole concert of this.
I think some of that stuff, it would be more like I could watch like the first couple notes, first couple songs, and then I just close my eyes. Because the music is usually pretty good. So it's like, but I can't watch you do that for like a whole concert. Like I'll name a name. A group that I do really like. I love how their music goes. But
why do you hate Kellen Corey so much, Mike? Why is that? Why? Oh, okay. I feel like this is a breaking story. Mike Odo.
Okay, because first of all, I'm not as tall as good looking as Corey.
Okay, that's a good reason.
Nor do I have Kale's muscles.
That's both two good reasons. Two good reasons. That's why Kellen doesn't like wear shirts that fit. I mean, I wouldn't.
No, a group that I do like their music, and it's a cool novelty. But like a group like Walk Off the Earth.
Okay.
They're very cool. But I don't know that I could sit for like a 90-minute concert of 6 people trying to play on one guitar. To me, after a while, no matter how good it would be, eventually it would be kind of like, I don't know.
Well, I think that's only for like those videos, and like in real life, they're good musicians and they play.
And actually, funny enough, if I turn on a Walk Off the Earth video and I don't watch the video. They have figured out how to arrange even around the one guitar, so it's actually pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just I can't physically watch that for too long.
Yeah, because I mean it's the same gimmick for like an hour.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
It's just kind of like I like tremolo, but if every song had a tremolo in it, I'd be like,
and they were tap dancing at the same time.
Yeah, like, I don't understand, you know. But like another example is like. I love Polyphia, but I don't know if I would watch like an entire Polyphia concert.
Yes.
I would just be stressed out. But then you're
just not cultured,
dude. I would put like earplugs on and just watch Tim Henson just be like just drool the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, I would watch, just look at him for an hour. I feel he doesn't even have to play music. I'll just look at Tim Henson for an hour, and then I would pay money to do that.
Not only are they good, but the stage hands are also good, where the drum tech was like beating on the drummer to keep him in time, right? Because his IEMs broke. Yeah.
And then like you know, I could watch, and I have like watched like an entire like Steve Vai concert. Because although Steve Vai will do like some beautiful runs on his guitar, he has very like groovy, very expressive kind of like slow lines as well. And I feel that like if I just sat through something like it's like just watch some jazz, do the same thing.
I will say too, most of the people you might think of as that do have some beautiful songs too, and that's also a mark of how good they are. Because a lot of people
Polyphia, love that band.
Because people think like the one that I love is Chick Corea, and most people like their first exposure to Chick Corea music is like the heavy, crazy 8 billion notes a minute music. But if you listen to his ballads, which don't usually, they're usually in the sets. But they're not the one like if you. The highlights of a Chick Corea thing, that's not what you're going to see. You're going to see them playing Got a Match at like 300 beats a minute and stuff like that. You're not going to see Jocelyn or even or songs or like the children's songs or things like that, which are absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, and not necessarily like let's do 18 time signatures and 15 chord key changes. And, he does some very beautiful just beautiful music.
I mean, I would just be like, oh, bro, play the roots, guys. Play the roots. Play the roots.
All right. That cut a little deep.
All right, guys. Sorry for going off the beaten of the path here. All right, next.
Okay, well, see, I think maybe this one. Did we do? Yeah, we already did that one. Okay, this one. Okay, got it? 3, 2, 1.
Adaptation.
Oh. Gosh, I don't know. I'd probably go Adaptation too, although that's super close.
Coming from a guy who brings music to his gigs and reads the music.
I believe, if you remember, that I didn't do that with your gig simply because you wanted to give me grief about that. And not only did I know the whole set that you asked for,
You did.
I also adapted to all the songs you threw at me that weren't on that list.
What did you say that was preparation?
Well, see, that's why it's so close for me. It wasn't preparation in terms of learning the songs, you know, although the truth is, I mean, most of the songs you called that weren't on the demo you gave me were ones that were like on Ukulele Underground or something. So I had seen them before, even though I hadn't bothered to learn them yet. So I would probably say, man, it is that in the heat of the moment, if you can't adapt, you will crash and burn. But I don't know that you can really, really separate the two.
Yeah.
Because the only way you're going to be good at adaptation on the bandstand is if you've prepared massively before that.
I think it depends on the stage also. Depends on the stage, depends on the gig. You know, like you're not going to just adapt at like, you know, at Kennedy Center.
Well, no, that's true. That's a preparation.
Honestly, it's like you want both if you can
you
want to be able to you want to prepare and be professional before a gig or something, but if you can't, hopefully you're good enough or you're comfortable enough where you can just adapt to if somebody's like, hey, last second you want to join in, here's music, you know.
I'm approaching this as in, what do I enjoy more? The adaptation, definitely. Like I've had a gig like pretty similar where like somebody told me that like, okay, you know, like this person's coming down and we need you to back this person up, just like, you know, like how you filled in on the bass for us. They're like, okay, well, they want to play these songs, so make sure that you know these songs. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I like all week I was just like learning that stuff. Came out pretty good. And then this person like, you know, asks me again, hey, this other person's coming down. They don't know what they're gonna play, but they play mostly reggae. So just, you know, like we need you to play guitar and just play, just have some fun. I'm like, all right, that sounds good. Like, don't tell me, I guess, what we're playing, but I'm not nervous at all or anything like that. You know, this person's just really good. But you know, I adapted and I thought it was more fun than like, you know, than stressing out over like, okay, I hope I get that, like this weird chord change down, because I feel like if I was, you know, if I was given charts before, they're like, okay, well, they're definitely going to play it right? But like, if I'm trying to adapt and I missed something, I'm like, well, like, it's fine. It's like a passing moment, you know?
And that's also the thing too, right? Is like sometimes as a musician, you'll get charts and then the person will be like, oh, actually, you're playing it in a different key. And you just got on the fly.
Adapt.
Like, okay.
Well, that's cool.
It definitely depends on the. So, like, I did a wedding a couple years ago on last minute. Like, a buddy of mine from Milwaukee called.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so it's like 3.5 hours worth of music, you know, but because this was a wedding band, it was going to be exactly what they sent.
Yeah.
So that is preparation. I just had for those 2 days between accepting it and the gig, I just wrote every chart I could figure out, looked at all the chord charts they sent me, listened, because there was a bunch of songs I'd never heard before, you know. But then a good correlate to this, I used to play for this hula halal. And my Auntie Bev Maroka. Hi, Auntie. She doesn't watch YouTube.
He's awesome.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
And Auntie Bev had a couple of really funny things. So me and my other good buddy, Kat Paleka. Hi, Kat. She would always call Catherine, come play guitar. And then Kat would always call me and said, come play bass. And like, did Auntie Bev call? Said, yeah, okay. So we would go there and she would always insist on rehearsing.
Yeah.
And then she would never do it. We didn't rehearse.
Yeah, I've played with Auntie Bev before.
It's very
and trying to like decode her hieroglyphics on the chord
because it's never because she just makes it up.
I know, and the thing is like I've played ukulele for like a long time, but I've never seen any fingering. Yeah, I'm like, what is this weird hieroglyphic that I'm like looking at here on her fretboard? You know,
like kind of how it would always like on the stand, like she'd call the song. And then she'd start playing, and thankfully for the bass player, you always come in on the second vamp.
Oh, yeah.
So Catherine would always not come into the second vamp too, and she'd just stare at Auntie Bev's hands and like around. See, and, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we'd rehearse it in G and she'd play it in C. We'd play it. She'd rehearse it in F and play it. Sometimes, if we were really lucky, we rehearse it in C and play it in C.
Yeah. But don't count on that.
But don't count on that. Not at
Or
all.
she'll say it's in C, but it's actually in G.
Yeah,
she thinks
that
it's in C. And it's
because
like,
it contains the C chord.
Yeah, it's that C. It's that
So,
C.
Yep. So,
Reverse gears.
and I will say this: playing with her did up my adaptation game.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Because and it wasn't small thing. Like sometimes she calls for smaller things, that's easy because there's no pressure. But like the one I remember was that she calls for EKK.
Okay.
And so we're there on that big stage, this giant lineup, all matching Aloha shirts and everything like like that. And it's still that. So I'm sitting here, Catherine's sitting right next to me, and Auntie Bev's right over there, and she's just like, see.
Yeah.
I think she's changing key. Wait.
You can take the girl from the luau, but you can't take the luau from the girl.
You know what I love too is like playing with musicians like that, and they're like playing and you're playing along, and then they go like, oh, you got it, so I can add stuff in.
Yes.
And it's like, wait, I just got the chords, and now you're gonna add more. They change up the vamp. They're like, okay, now do the vamp like this. And I was like, oh, okay, that's where we're going. Okay. Yeah. This one is actually from before. Oh yeah, and then so people said adaptation too.
Okay.
So got it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Dynamics.
Yeah. Yeah. That was another one where the audience voted for dynamics too. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like dynamics has a lot more emotion, that it can deliver than tonality. Tonality is great. I mean, who doesn't want good tone? Who doesn't want to be in tune, But dynamics just squeezes out so much more emotion, like music wise.
I think also tonality is more subjective than dynamics.
That's true. Yeah.
Like if you go from very soft to very loud, I don't know anybody who's not going to take that as like one of those moments.
Yeah, building it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like if you have this thing where it gets very soft and it just crescendos to something really loud and blasts out. That's kind of, again, that's like a visceral thing to people.
Yeah.
And everybody gets that.
Yeah.
Tonality, it's like, it kind of depends on where you're coming from. Because the tone of your instrument stuff. Some people, I have heard people play with tones that are just like, that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's their signature tone, their sound.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, that's what you were aiming for. Who am I to tell you? Who am I to tell you you're wrong? You know what I mean?
I also feel like if you're doing it right, dynamics could also play into tonality. Like how your tonality comes out is affected by how loud or how soft you are too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there is an argument for tonality. Like that, I'm still dynamics 100%, but like I'm not gonna name who, but like I'm not even gonna name the instrument. Like there was this one time I was with my friends and watching one of our friends play on stage, and this person was playing with a lot of pedal work and stuff, and I don't know like if they just didn't step on one pedal in particular, and it sounded like it didn't sound like a natural sound that instrument would make. It sounded like an electric version of of that instrument, and they played a tune that just didn't really work for any of us because the tone was just didn't match.
Yeah. Oh, that I've definitely seen that. I remember the one that I see the most is when I see people doing something like, say, hooking an acoustic instrument into an electric amp. I have seen that on many occasions, and because it's what you have, you know what I mean? It's what you have, and so I can't really say, well, go buy something better because maybe you can't. But
with EQs, I feel like you can. But I mean, if you're like, if you got an acoustic guitar, and you're trying to run like a metal zone through it. You know?
Yeah, well,
and then you're like, this is awesome.
Like one I
Maybe not. Maybe
one
it's
I
not.
saw was someone just taking it's a regular plug-in acoustic, and they were running it through like a 410 like Marshall stack type amp, and I don't know any amount of EQ that would allow that acoustic to sound in a real pleasing way, just because the EQ just in general on an electric amp is so different than an acoustic. The
It sounds
frequency
hot.
point,
It's hot.
it just had this very metallic hit to every note that was just, ooh, that's rough.
Yeah, but I mean dynamics though. Like
Yeah,
I feel
dynamics
like
is-
dynamics.
Yeah, if they'd been quieter, that would have been great.
Dynamics could tell a whole story.
Absolutely.
You know, like just by itself. You know, whereas like tonality couldn't do that. It would just be like, oh, that's a good tone. You know,
Yeah.
like but dynamics can really like make or break a tune. I feel like, you know, like you can be a little bit off. You can like not sound that great, but if your dynamics is on point, and I feel like dynamics. You could even put phrasing into that, because that part dynamics is part of phrasing, you know, like, so that means the phrase isn't phrased correctly. So
yeah.
you could have the best tone, but if your phrasing is bad, like it's just not gonna sound that great. So dynamics.
Yep. Okay. And then this is it.
Last one.
Yep. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Imagination.
What's
Do
your
the
favorite
SpongeBob.
idea? Mine is being creative.
And what about you, Mike?
I would
Gut
go with
feeling.
I would go with imagination, but I'd want you to quantify what you mean by those two words.
Yeah. That's like, I saw somebody and they said that, or I was looking at people talk about what makes a good musician. And they were talking about people who can play from their imagination, but then also the skill set of being able to hear and react to other people playing too. So in that sense, that's kind of like more perception. I was going to put imagination or listening, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So if you're defining imagination as coming up with cool ideas and perception as being able to hear them and then react to them, I would actually change my answer to perception. Because unless you're playing by yourself.
Yeah. Well, I interpreted it as like, you know, when you're playing or when you're coming up with something, like imagination, like using your imagination and creativity versus like what you perceive the instrument to do or to sound like and stuff. You know, like that's how I took it as, and that's why like I feel like imagination, especially for me in my songwriting, like it's very like story driven. Like if you have an imagination like that, those songs become something much more, rather than like, well, the ukulele is perceived to do these things, you know, or to play these notes or play this kind of music, and I just
Do something different.
Yeah, do something different. That's how I view it as.
And then it's kind
That's
of
my gut reaction.
It's kind of the thing where it's like, honestly, you probably have to build up your ability to listen and perceive to be able to recreate what you imagine in your head.
Yeah.
So it's like not one, or if you're building one, you're probably also building the other skill set too.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and you have two sides of that. So like when you're writing your music,
Yes.
your ability to imagine new stuff is kind of critical. Otherwise, you're just writing something you've already written. But when you play ukulele in a support role, your perception, your ability to perceive the music going on around you is far more important.
Yeah.
Like when you were backing up those artists, if you couldn't catch what they were doing and how they were doing it to be able to fit into that, that's because when you're doing that, and being a bass player where 99% of what I do is all support role. My ability to imagine new stuff is not really all that important. You know, my ability to hear what the people I'm playing with are doing and be able to fit right in, that's, I hate to say it's more of like a technical thing, but it kind of is, where it's like, if I hear you do this, I know that this, and this will work to the best effect of backing that up. They don't want me to come up with something.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
You know,
I'm
sure,
blue, and I'll throw them off.
Because you wouldn't want to hear that like that comment of like, that sure was imaginative.
Yeah, Mike.
Or
I've never heard anybody do that before.
I think we've all experienced it, right? Like you listen to people playing, and then somebody starts like soloing or something, but they're kind of in their own world, so it doesn't connect to the rest of the song.
Yes.
And it's like cool, but you can tell it's mostly their imagination and not reacting or listening to the rest of the group.
Right.
Also.
Yeah. And my take on it is, you know that song Walls by Joey Charles?
Yes.
So like he definitely had a, you know, like, or he had a perception of what he thought I was gonna do. And then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do something different. And like, it was good because I worked with Ariki, a producer that I've worked with before, and Ariki knows that like, okay, like I don't know, I'm just gonna follow whatever thread you're gonna, you know, like you lay out for me, Audrey, and I'm like, okay, cool, we're gonna do this, and then this is kind of what I want to do, and I want to add layers, I want to add a harmony, I want to do this. Whereas like, I think Joey just wanted me to come in there, do a riff and a solo,
A simple,
and a simple riff and simple solo. I'm like, no. Let's add these layers in there. Let's make it as imagination as possible. You know, like his perception of what I was gonna do or what he wanted for his, and it was his song. He could have just said like, you know, like I don't like what you did. Like, can you do something better? He could have, and I've been like, okay, well, let me do something a little bit more, you know, because it is his song ultimately, right? But luckily enough, he's just like, oh, that sounds good. I'm like, awesome, because I would have hated to just like downgrade and do something super boring, you know?
Yeah. It's like, and yeah, it's like imagination is being able to play what you hear in your mind's ear, right? Like you can probably hear where the song is gonna go, so that's what you're like trying to reproduce.
Yeah, a lot of times when people like ask to collaborate and stuff, I just get kind of like weird ideas, like let's do this, like, oh, I'm gonna add these things in there, and they're like, why? Okay.
Yeah,
That's how you know you found the right people to collaborate.
yeah, exactly.
When they just like, okay,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? Okay.
And that's like, if you're doing it in a live setting and they're able to react to you, it's like, again, like Mike said, it's probably they're really good at perception, right? And their support role is like really strong. So they're like, okay, if you want to go in that direction, instead of like just keep going in a straight line, we'll push you towards that direction too.
Yeah.
Another example, most recently, Mike came to watch us on a Thursday night, you know, like, and you don't perceive who's that reggae artist that does Night Nurse, Gregory. You don't perceive Gregory Isaacs to be anything but just like lovers rock reggae, but boom, added some Legend of Zelda in there, matched pretty good. Use my imagination to
the three of us in the bar that-
I know we
that
can't like
caught
add any like extra, you know, like animations afterwards, but maybe you can make that the
Thumbnail.
the thumbnail. Imagination.
Okay.
But yeah, so I added Zelda's Lullaby, and I saw Mike all the way from across the bar. He's like, whoa.
That's what we were talking about last week, right? Like
It's like a nerd call.
Yeah.
Sometimes as a musician, you do stuff or you play stuff, and it's only for your friends, and just to see the reaction of your friend, like, whoa.
Yeah, because Mike and Chino was there, and I'm just like, let's see if I can get their heads to turn.
You know, I was at Johnny's with Chino, and it's like when you played Perfect together.
Yeah.
Like, you guys is me and Chino look at each other like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I believe I won.
I don't know.
I tallied up all the scores. I feel like yeah. So good job, me. I need that constant.
Good job,
pat in the
Barry
back.
Horowitz.
Yeah. All the time. I just need a constant patting in the back. See? Now, you're welcome, by the way, audience. This place didn't burn down. Okay? You voted. You're like, please don't burn the place down. And I listened because you listened. See, nothing like a good threat to the audience to get what you want.
We're gonna have to.
Are you ready to have this for a whole nother year?
Hell yeah, baby! 3 times, 3 Pete's. Is it 3 Pete like Kobe?
Okay.
I'm really hoping to get to 5
Oh my gosh.
what?
because then
I'm hoping to live till 5.
For TX.
Okay, we have questions.
Yeah.
for you guys?
I bet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Jim said, for Mike, have you ever played a Kona Walkingstick bass? And if so, comments. Any comments?
I have not.
Yeah. What is a Kona Walkingstick bass?
I have not a clue.
Is it not
I've played some really weird ones before, but I don't know that one
I
particular.
think it's some weird Australian insect thing, like walking stick.
Okay.
I gotta look it up. Sorry, Joe. I gotta look it up.
Aaron's probably looking up, right?
Is it like a washtub bass?
That's what I kind of assume because if it's a walking stick, right? And that's a washtub base is
It's
a washtub
basically a
upside
stick
down
with
with
a-
a stick on top.
Yeah.
Piece of string.
Yeah.
Like Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Next question.
Rick Rowe said, "Can you play any song with a low G? Any adjustments are necessary? How to know which songs are best?"
I wouldn't say any song, but like most songs. Yeah,
I
I'd
mean-
say most songs.
Like physically, yeah, you
Yeah,
can play
yeah,
any song,
yeah.
and as you play it, you'll figure out what works. And
Yeah,
what
what works
doesn't.
and what doesn't work.
It
you know?
does to go back to our game. It does, however, affect the tonality of what you're going to do.
Yeah. So
So-
you could play like Noho Pai Pai, for example, and do like but doing that would be like something a little bit different.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't go. You probably go.
Yeah.
You would change it up, like, but you can't play the song, you know, like the question of can you play any song, like, yeah, you could play Noho Pai Pai, but it would
definitely sound
change up.
different.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Maybe not in the way you want.
you know, but there are some songs that you couldn't play, you know, like you couldn't play some like campanella pieces, for example, like you need those like that high G tone in there, you know.
Yeah, I think I told somebody was asking about this too, kind of, and I said, "Oh, just try it though." Because if you learn it and it doesn't sound right, then you still learn it. And when you get the chance to play it on like, if you're playing like a low G, you learn it on low G and you try and play it on high G. When the chance that you get to play a high G,
Yeah.
you can play the notes. Just play
Yeah.
it how you learned it too.
Yeah. Okay, next.
But I gotta find the next question.
Answer in 5. Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Trent
Yes,
said,
you can. Most songs.
so,
Should we try to do that? Every answer?
No. Trent.
Trent said, when it comes to soloing and as a self-taught musician, what is the best way to learn call and response phrases?
The best way to learn call and response phrases, you would have to have somebody call and then you respond. And the only way, you know, not the only, but like the best way to do that is to do a call and like, you know, it's tough to practice that stuff, you know, because like if somebody's gonna give you a call that, you know, it's gonna be unique to them because it's an improvised call that you have to then respond to, and the call or the response has to somewhat be similar to the call. It has to have throwbacks. I feel like a good response has throwbacks to the call that was called out, and then you respond to it, you know. So that's not something you can practice for. Like you kind of just have to like really, you can practice getting to know your instrument so that like when there is a call, you know, like, okay, I can make that same noise or I can play those same kind of notes. But other than that, like it would be tough doing it by yourself because a call and response, it takes two.
I think
It's like, how do you, like, what's the best way to learn how to tango by yourself?
yeah,
you know?
And there's like no replacement for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I think the best you can do also is like, if you don't have the chance to do that, is like look at other musicians doing call and response and try and figure out why they're doing, like, what are they calling back to when they're responding to the musician. And then you could also try and like take out one of the musicians and do a call and response with the other person, like a recording.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like hard because it's not in the moment and it is different from doing
Right,
it
because
in
then the next call is based upon your response. So like it kind of builds, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's tough to get a recording because they're building on whatever the recorded response was and not your response.
Yeah.
So like it's a little bit tougher that way. Not saying that you can't, but it's not ideal.
It's not ideal, but I feel like that might be a decent place to start.
Yeah.
You know, because then you can actually, because with that idea, then you can actually go back.
Yeah.
So they play something and you can record your own response.
Yeah.
Then listen back to it. Does it make sense? Does it sound like you actually respond to what they said?
Yeah.
If it doesn't, listen to that thing again. Do another one.
Well, and I think even if you're doing it with a person live, like try and do that too. Record yourself, right? And then listen back to it again and hear how well did you respond to that person you're playing to.
Well, recording yourself is always going to be a good idea, and it also can be one of the most terrifying things you ever do.
Yeah.
Which is good though.
But yeah, just be prepared for that part because I think the first time any of us ever heard ourselves recorded on anything.
I don't know about you, man. It sounded beautiful.
Always.
From the very beginning.
From the very first time I sat in this chair and we recorded this award-winning podcast, I'm like, I think we got something here. I think this podcast deserves an award.
2. Yeah.
4, 5 times.
15 years later.
15 years later. We were due.
No, it just means that it took that long for everybody to catch up.
Are you guys ready for that? Are you guys ready for a year of me like doing this character? Because I can and I will.
He's won King of the Ring. It's going to the next year.
I don't know why you're asking if we're ready, because I don't think it matters what our response is. That's true. I think you're just
This is maybe I am good at like self-call and response. One person call and response, because I don't actually care about your response. I'm just calling.
Okay.
Call and call.
That's more of a command. I think it's just command.
Again, back to the imagination versus perception. It's just like, oh, you did something? Cool. I'm not going to listen to you. Okay.
Go ahead.
Double Dogleg said, ukulele storage. Does leaving in a case help with temperature? Other ways to protect your ukulele if you're living in a van down by the river?
Oh.
Van down by the river. Just reminds me of a Chris Farley sketch. It does help with temperature. I feel like, you know, it protects it a little bit, not much, you know, like because the temperature, the humidity inside the case is slightly different from like outside, you know, like it being outside. Other ways to protect your ukulele if you're living in a van down by the river, though, like it's I'm guessing it's very humid because you're next to water, so you might want like some silica gel. Like if silica gel takes out humidity, a humidifier adds humidity, so you can always adjust accordingly. I would get a hygrometer just to check how much humidity you have currently inside your van down by the river, and then you adjust. You know, you either you put in some silica gel in your case to take out humidity, or you put in, you know, like a wet sponge, for example, like if you want to add add humidity to, you know, to your case.
It also depends on what kind of case you have.
Yeah.
So certain cases are far more porous, so they'll let humidity, temperature in and out way faster. Yeah. If you have a case like his, nothing's really getting nothing's getting in there unless he wants it in there.
Who carried it recently? Someone was like, "Oh, I gotta try to hold this case. I heard it was like 100 pounds." I'm like, "Oh yeah, try it out." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, it is."
Didn't you give it to Chino?
Well, no, it wasn't Chino. It was somebody who was interested in it. Like,
or not?
No, it might have been Ron.
Yeah, and his kid.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Ron and his kid. Because like I heard that case was like 100 pounds, and they held. They're like, oh yeah, it's pretty heavy. That's how I got these arms, baby. Feel different. Next,
Greg Simarusti asked, "Do you guys ever play baritone ukulele?"
Yes. I reach for it more than I do my guitalele.
Going back to that.
But not more than your...
But not more than my soprano.
Yeah.
More than my soprano.
Yeah.
I play baritone because I can't play the guitar.
Yeah. And then
it's just the most it's like the best, most authentic ukulele experience. Just like playing like a soprano. It's so good.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love playing that little Martin.
Yeah, and like good soprano. So in that case, like a good Martin. Like there's definitely a case for like if I play like a bad soprano, I'm like I don't know if I want to keep playing this, you know. But I guess that too, because like most of the sopranos that I own are kind of
probably
vintage,
pretty good.
like old sopranos. So you know, I have like an old like Kūpaoa soprano. I have a Gibson soprano, and I have a Martin soprano.
I think where people get that disconnect from is that you don't tend to see cheap tenors or concerts very much. Like if you go to your ABC store or your Walmart and you buy an ukulele, it's almost always not even a soprano, but like a tiny soprano.
Yeah, with like flowers on it or something.
That's why
like pink or blue.
Yeah, or the picture of the sunset.
Yeah,
that's pretty common. And that's why I think some people, like in my experience in the store, when people come in and they look at a soprano and as well as it's $80, they don't. You know what I mean?
It's like, what is the difference between this and the purple one that I saw at ABC?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then also like thinking back to the construction versus materials, right? Is like people go like, why are ukuleles so expensive if you use less materials to make them? Yeah.
Well, they are, but a soprano does cost less than a concert, which costs less than a tenor, which costs less than a baritone.
Because and they still take the same amount of time to make.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean.
Or even in some degrees, it's like more
time
because you're trying to add a curve to like less big piece of wood, so it's like harder to make that curve.
But I mean, it doesn't even have to just be that. Like you buy like the latest iPhone, which is like this tiny or whatever, and that's like $1,000. You could get a computer, like an entire big computer for like $1,000. And like, why is this tiny little device as much as like a full tower with the with some monitors?
Yeah. Because even though, and I would say, because even though there's more stuff in the big computer, the fact that they had to take all that stuff and micronize it down for the phone.
It's exactly what it's like for ukuleles. So, like think about it that way, everybody. Like you're using almost the same amount of materials because like, you have to get like a quarter sawn, a board in order to get good tone wood. And, whether you're using it for ukulele or for guitar, like it's...
Or any string instrument for that matter.
Yeah, so...
I would argue that, I don't know, I'm not a builder, but it's like, I would argue that it's easier to make like a guitar that can project, maybe not sound great, but can project and be like where people will be like, oh, that sounds really good, versus an ukulele that's way smaller and make it like be able to project as much as a guitar or a like really sufficient instrument.
Yeah. I mean, the kind of thing would be that like if you have a small instrument, all the adjustments you make, since there's so much less material, every adjustment you make is like can have a massive effect. Whereas with a guitar that has bigger pieces of wood, you could kind of fluff it in either in the wrong way, but it probably won't affect the guitar as much because of all that, like bracing. We're talking about bracing. You think about a guitar bracing, and there's like these giant...
A lot of room to work with.
Yeah, a lot of thickness. And if you take off an extra 0.5 millimeter, nobody's really going to know. But the guitar, the ukulele ones,
it's so small.
where you're talking like less than chopsticks.
Yeah.
You remove 1 millimeter when you're supposed to take a 0.5 millimeter off. No, you've removed a significant...
Nothing could collapse. Like, you know what I mean? Like you do something wrong construction-wise by a hair.
Yeah,
it could explode.
It could just not be enough, and all of a sudden the top caves in, or something, or
just collapse.
Or if you do use the wrong amount of glue or something like that, and the braces just fall off. You know what I mean? And then the top collapses in. But
Anything else, Kai?
Trent, going back to that call and response, he asked, "You can't do it alone," and then Jim kind of said like. You can record the call with spacing and then play it against the recording to make your own call and response. And then, you can do that, but it's like, it's kind of different from doing it with somebody else too. And I would argue that is like, I think people ask like, what is something that they can do to get better at playing?
Practice.
One of the things
they don't want to hear that.
One of the things that like fast makes you improve way faster is like playing with other people. Because you can never like really truly predict what other people are gonna do or how they're gonna play, and learning how to adapt to other people is like a great.
So by nature, like call and response is like there's a call and you respond to it. So it does take two to tango, and in that sense, you can like Jim said, record the call and then space it out and add like a response later. But it wouldn't be like a true like call and response, like because those are kind of in the moment things. You know? Like if you're recording it and doing that, then it takes away.
You already know what the other person is gonna do.
Exactly,
because the other person is you.
Yeah,
but it's a good way to practice.
It is.
It's probably good to practice because then you have time to think. But when you
You're
think
taking
of
away the very essence
Yeah.
of like what makes that great.
And I also think it's like a great thing. It might sound a little bit bad, but when you do a call and response, or when you're like soloing with somebody or improvising, and then you kind of just like, you're afraid, but you just push through and you just do it. That's like something you gotta learn. You can't like prepare for it as much as you can, but you just gotta do it, and you gotta learn.
I think most people would also say music is general as a language. So call and response is basically a conversation.
Yeah.
You know,
You
so
can talk to yourself.
oh, you absolutely can, but but it's more that's just like, it's kind of like when we have a little kid, right? We tend to ask them the same questions all the time because they haven't developed the ability to respond. So if I go up to a little kid, I say, "How are you today?" And I do that every day. Eventually, they're gonna have possibly different answers. I'm good today. I'm not good today. I feel sick. Whatever, like that. But because you give them the same question, they'll eventually have a thing of responses. The thing is, though, what the next one is a little bit harder. So I think with call and responses, the first couple things people shoot at you are probably the easiest things to respond to. And as you get into the conversation, that's when it gets more difficult.
Yeah.
Because when we all greet each other, we all basically say the same. That we greet each other.
Hey.
How you doing? What'd you do today? Stuff like that. Once we get past that point, then it's what did happen today.
Yeah.
Because he tells me, "Oh yeah, I was checking out my One Piece cards," and that's going to take us in that direction. Or if he says, "Oh, I was writing this cool song," we're going to go in that direction.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the truth also with call and response. That is the thing you can't really prepare for. You know what I mean?
Like a legitimate conversation.
An actual So I think like at the beginning, like doing the spacing thing, it's not great, but that's also like very common. Hello, goodbye, how are you? With stuff like that. And that you can kind of prepare for. And then past that, you got to be prepared for.
Ohayo gozaimasu. Aldrin desu.
Yeah. And then after that, I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
Or it's like if you try and like prepare for it, right? It's like, so you go like, "Oh, how are you?" And you expect everybody to say, "Oh, good. What about you?" Right? Or like that's the general response. And they go, "Oh,
My leg fell off.
It's like, "Oh, how are you?" I broke my leg. And then if you go, "Good, how about you?" It's like that's not the
right response to that call. Yeah.
So but then if you think about it, people who are learning this are like little kids when it comes to speaking the language. So then that's why that back and forth can be useful until they can become comfortable with actually having, because if like if Ellie comes up to you and says, "Hey Dad, how are you today?" And you say, "I dropped a brick on my head."
Yeah.
She looks at you like,
Shut the brick in the bathroom, Ellie.
she look at you
go
like,
in there.
"What?" You know, like she would be like, like, I don't know what to say. You know, but
I can't make poops that big, Dad.
Until you do it enough, right? Where it's like you get that, and then it's like, "Oh, that's not weird for me. I know how to respond to
the
this."
brick in the bathroom. It's like, oh, like yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Just didn't have that much fiber again, Dad. Drink your Metamucil, please.
You gotta work on that.
Old man.
Fiber's good for you.
Fiber's good for you. Eat the gummies or something.
But you know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of true with this too. Yeah. If you keep playing, even with stuff you're normally used to, it gives you like at least that like basic conversational level that you can then build off of. Yeah. You know, you got to get there somehow. That's why.
Our friend from Korea, Miss Moon, that's like her favorite English joke is "Hi, how are you?" Like, "I'm fine, thank you."
Yeah, you know, her response is always that.
It's always,
"Fine, thanks. How are you?"
It's always like I'll ask her something in English and she's just like, "Hi, fine, hi, thank you. How are you?" Like, that's awesome. It's a great it's a great running joke with her.
Yeah. For that, I'm guessing that it's this Kona walking stick. Yeah, I guess, or Kona bob. walking stick bass. It's basically just like a stick with strings on it, you know, and there are different variations of it. There's like more or less strings, but yeah.
Does it look like a bow and arrow bow or?
It's just, yeah. Oh, I don't have any really good pictures of it. Most of it was like from forum posts of people asking other people have you tried it, and nobody
Just all
has.
Jim.
Yeah.
Just lurking in other forums asking if anyone's
I think
played
it's, yeah. It
See
was,
what you started?
Stick.
yeah. And the original, I think the original website was KonaWalkingBass.com, and that's not active anymore. So I don't even know if you can actually get it, but
I have this conspiracy theory now that Jim makes those, and he's asking a bunch of forums like, have you heard of this? Trying to like drum up, like hype for his own creation.
I heard that they're gonna come back. I heard that they're gonna be the new cool thing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Did you hear anything about it?
I'm just saying, if you're doing that, that's pretty genius, dude.
it's like
Get out of here, you base.
Yeah.
Kona walks.
Mandela affected into existence. Yeah, like nobody actually remembers it, but like, oh yeah, no, I think I've seen something like that before.
That's now canon in my head. Now it's canon in my head that like Jim Bills made Kona walking stick. He's trying to make it relevant.
Yeah, but yeah, talking about Kellen and Līhau, Līhau does play a upright, like an electric upright bass.
It looks like a stick.
That kind of looks like a stick.
Yeah,
and-
I think it's an NS design one.
It's like
Yeah.
a stand too. She doesn't even have to
Yeah.
carry it or hold it. Or
But then when she doesn't want to play that thing, she has that little. It looks like a GS Mini.
Oh yeah, I've seen her.
It's
Yeah,
a
I've seen
guild.
that. Yeah.
She brought that to
Yeah.
Kauai when they came for the retreat.
yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of checking that out when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool bass. That's kind of a cool bass.
Don't take your eyes off it.
Yeah.
Well, I asked because
I feel like I've ruined my car for that thing.
you remember maybe I don't know, how long has that been out? They haven't been out that long. Maybe like 5-6 years. That style of bass. So like more than like 7-8 years ago, nothing like that really existed on the market. If you got an acoustic bass guitar, it was like a full size
With a
big-
long neck.
with a long neck, which I have one of those, but man, it is a lot to move around.
Kellen plays Kōloha ukuleles, yeah. I think he's a Kōloha player.
Yeah.
And so does Līhau.
Yeah, but he plays guitar mostly. Right?
Yeah, mostly a guitar player.
It's
Because I remember Mark Baldonado said he learned from Kellen. That was like his teacher, his original like teacher. And I guess Ryan too, like Kellen taught him to play guitar.
Yeah, Kellen was the guy who knew all the Ka'au stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like every school had that guy.
Yeah.
And
For
he
us, it was Ola.
Yeah. But really like Kellen had when we were in high school, they had a gig. It was like him and Alan Al-Lem. And they let us hang out there at their gig. Like we would go to their gig every week, and they let us hang out there and just play our instruments on the side. They were nice enough to be like, yeah, just bring your instruments. No need to plug in or anything, but just jam.
Oh, nice.
And that's how we got comfortable with like a set list and like
being on
learning how
stage.
to like adapt and watch people's fingers, and that's
playing a whole 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think that's a funny one that I think a lot of younger guys who want to play don't actually realize. It's like, dude, you're not going to go up there for like 10 minutes and then just you wow everybody for 10 minutes and then it's like, okay, cool, give me my money.
Yeah.
It's like,
You're
you're there for like 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, you know. You got to have enough songs.
Now what else?
They don't want to hear that same song a half an hour from now because you don't have enough songs.
Yeah. So
you mean to tell me you don't want to hear for 2 hours?
But yeah, Kellen definitely was one of the people that I owe a lot to because he was.
Although on that note, I would love to hear a playlist of all different covers of Careless Whisper and see what people have come up with over the years. It's
Pamplemousse.
It's like that one joke. I don't know if I ever told the story on the podcast, but we did that once to my late friend Tom. He was a coworker, and the one song he hated more than anything in the world was Santa Baby.
So we made a whole playlist.
We made a whole playlist. It was like an hour of Santa Baby, every version we could find, every one we could find. And then And then I hid a Bluetooth speaker in the rafters of the building, and I hid my tablet so he couldn't find it. He went to the bathroom. I said, Tom, I'm going to lunch. I hit play, and then I just ran. And I took like an extra. I didn't come back for like 45 minutes. He was steaming by the time he came back in because he had 45 minutes of like 12 different versions of Sanity.
He's gonna hurry down your chimney that
He
night.
was about to throw his bike at me, I think. And our other coworker Noah was dying laughing.
That's awesome.
Oh, I miss you, Tom. Irritating you was amazing.
All right, so it is time, Kahai. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming down and watching and tuning in to the Ukulele on the Ground podcast. We've enjoyed having you in once again. Thank you to Mike Odo, our special guest for today. Yes.
The award-winning.
The award-winning Ukulele on the Ground podcast. Sorry.
You got to get used to it.
I do. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like I'm not used to carrying around this big heavy gold belt around my waist as being the champ, two-time champ. Two-time champ.
What was the organization that did this?
The Yukis. I don't know, the Anarchy in the UK lately.
Okay, so let's put it out there now. He wants a belt. He wants a belt.
Oh, you can just give me the award and I'll make a belt out of the award.
There you go. Something like that.
Yeah, hell yeah, baby.
But if you haven't made the award yet, just a big shiny gold belt.
Oh, so there's two. I can carry the two on each shoulder.
Like Roman Reigns. Can you make one of them red and one of them blue?
Oh, the amazing universal.
We made
this podcast champion.
We made this joke the last time we want to.
It never gets old, Kahai. Now that we have two, it's twice as good.
That is not a joke. This is what is known as manifesting.
It's a secret, okay?
I looked at our podcast. The first podcast is us winning the first award of this last year.
Yeah.
The last podcast of last year is us winning the award again.
Hell yeah. See? That's why we win awards, guys, because we're consistent, all right?
And that deserves a belt.
Yeah, it deserves two belts. Yep. Each one on my shoulder.
Yes.
Okay? All right? Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Check out ukuleleunderground.com. Learn how to play the ukulele over on our website, ukuleleunderground.com. You can sign up for UU Plus to take that ukulele playing to that next level if you already know how to play ukulele. Or if you're starting for the very first time and you want the best premium lessons and skyrocket. Put a strap on your back. Learning the ukulele, you can strap a rocket to you, and then learning wise, learn how to play ukulele over at UU Plus. Okay. Check out our latest lesson, Are You Missing Me by the Kūpaoa Creative Boys. Learn how to do some triplet strumming with that. Got a really cool finger picking for the solo. That's fun. It's Kūpaoa Creative Boys. How can it not be fun and awesome and great? Because they only do fun and great and awesome things, right? That's why people like Bob Dylan cover the Kūpaoa Creative Boys.
Exactly.
So, let's see. Get yourself some Ukulele on the Ground merch over at shop.ukuleleontheground.com. Like we said, we do sell ukuleles. We sell it over there. Shop.ukuleleontheground.com. Pick yourself up an Islander ukulele, a Kanilea ukulele, or some Ukulele on the Ground merch. If you want to wear your pride for Ukulele Underground, you can check out the UU merch store. Last week, I was wearing the sweet Say Hello to My Little Friend in mint and black. Pretty awesome. So make sure you check that out. If you like this shirt, the Aldi Club, be part of the Aldi Club over at aldrine.com. Aldrine.com, you can sign up for in-person lessons with the AG Ukulele Academy on Kauai over at aldrine.com. And I also have some merch in there as well. We have the
Which one has the sweater?
Oh, the sweater is from the shop.uu, but then that sweater is gone? Question mark? No, we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at it's
Don't
gone.
go looking for it.
Mark.
Seasonal.
Yeah.
Seasonal.
So, but yeah, I have Acoustic Robot Love Songs shirts. I have this Aldi Club shirt that's available over there, and you can sign up for private lessons, group lessons, and our weekly sessions over at AG Ukulele Academy or aldrine.com. Okay. Anything? Oh, plug your store, buddy.
If you happen to be on the island of Kauai, you can come visit me at Scotty's Music. It's right across from Walmart. I don't actually have a better address than that because on Kauai, nobody uses addresses.
There's only one Walmart on the island.
There's only one Walmart. If you can find that, you can find me.
I don't think it's like Oh, you mean the music shop with the guitar?
The guitar.
The giant
outside.
guitar in the yard. That's another way we identify ourselves.
Flying V. It's like a flying V guitar, right?
Yes. We carry Kanilea. We carry Raymond Raposa's Island Ukuleles. We carry Kamaka and the high end. We also carry Leolani, Waikiki Ukulele Company, which is all the same company, really. We just got in a shipment of Islander's new plastic ukuleles, which has been kind of interesting. The Hola Hola series. And we do carry a bunch of other stuff. Guitars, drums, bass, all pretty much, if you band instruments. If there's anything you want to know, you can come see us.
Scotty's music.
Yes.
Scotty Shapiro's music.
Not anymore.
Come talk to by name only.
Come see my new bosses, Tom and Delisa Iannucci, at our store.
Yeah, I might deter people from going if I say it. Yeah, I feel like people will come. We're like, Scotty's not there anymore. And but it's called Scotty's music.
Yeah, when Tom and Delise bought the place, they just figured, well, why change it? Because I can see Kahai pulled up some of the stuff online. If you look for music store on Kauai, just through traffic, that's what you'll get to. You know what I mean?
SEO
so if we decide to change the name, Scotty's would actually probably still show up on Google reviews, Yelp reviews, and stuff like that. But so I think that's why she decided to really keep the name, was because it just made more sense for internet traffic.
Sounds good. Gotta keep that SEO.
Yeah,
let's keep it optimized, baby.
Absolutely.
So you guys know how to internet, right? So you guys know what happened next. What happens next? Like right now, you guys know.